What is up, guys? This is JT. This is my little setup right now. I got my rigid vacuum, my 6-gallon compressor, and my table saw set up just so I can do a little side project when it comes to the deck. Now, everyone else would see all this junk wood here and say, this is all scrap. Well, yeah, it is scrap, but at the same time, it's not. Because if you take the time, and also this is going to be a little bit of edge banding to go around where the deck is free floating away from the house wall. There's a little gap, so this is going to actually cover that gap up. Just going to nail it down or trim screw it. But here's what you can do with your scraps. Now this could be the side skirting, if it's not too thick anyways. I don't know yet. I have to double check and make sure. And as you can see, I did screw up on the first two because I wasn't looking down the blade. But these two are correct. They've got their about 47 degree little chamfer, and it's about halfway through the board, so it leaves a nice little flat edge. And some of the boards do need to be squared up, and it's hard to see the gaps, but there is gaps because I put it just on this little piece of scrap OSB. But this is like what you can do around the edges of a deck, just with your scrap wood. And I'll show you how I did it. What I did was, hopefully it's not too windy, I took a piece. You set your table saw, and by the way, this table saw is amazing so far. The only thing I don't like is the plate. Sometimes the plate sags down, and then the board will get caught. And also, if you're doing little teeny tiny rips, it'll get caught on the riving knife. And yeah, other than that, it's doing wonderful. And I do have a misaligned fence, so it actually leans a little bit this way, which causes me some issue. But what you do at first is you're going to set this to 0, of course. Then you're going to rip this, not directly down the middle, but a little bit short of the middle. That way you can basically even up the two pieces. Or if you really want to do it nice, just to make sure you get in the proper bevel, you can actually cut off the factory bevels or the factory roundovers. I'm not doing it that way because it's kind of a waste, but every once in a while you will get a situation where the kind of the factory screw up, I would say, kind of leaves a bigger gap, and I don't like how it looks when it's really nice and flush. That's when it looks good. And so you just do what you gotta do. But you rip this almost directly down the middle on 0, of course. And then, like I said, don't rip it too far over. Rip it short and then square the other one up with it so they're the exact same. They don't all have to be the exact same, but it just makes it easier if you cut it just a little bit short, because some of these are 5.5. Some of them are 5.8, 5.375. They just go from different ranges. So if you set like just a specific, just set it over just a little bit. Not like find center and then basically cut center off, like cut that line off. And then that'll give you some room to play with. So rip this down the middle. And then probably rip them all down the middle. That way it'll save you time. So you gotta rip one side, then take the longer side, and then you gotta rip it also. And then if you want to, you can flip it around so that you still have a factory edge. It doesn't matter. Just do whatever. After you get them all ripped down this direction, what you're gonna do is split them this direction. Now this is very dangerous. I was going to do it all the way like this, but since my fence is not straight, I would end up with very crookedy boards. So I decided to rip them up the middle and do the little version instead of this being all one piece like this, which was actually my preferred. So hopefully I'm keeping the wind out. So after you rip this in half, then you rip it this way, then you're gonna set your saw to, what I did was I set it to 47 degrees, as you can see. And then I just set it just enough to where it kind of clips. And what I didn't do last time is look all the way down the edge of the board to the blade. I was looking at it at an angle, so I didn't see where it's going to hit. And then you just put a little chamfer on there, and then you run them all down, run all the chamfers so they're all the same. And then basically you're just manufacturing your own slats. And then when you finally get them all made, say you have like a broken or a chipped edge, that's when you go ahead and either glue it or take a miter saw and chop it off. But you're gonna have to size them all differently anyways, because they're not gonna be all the same length, especially since all your scraps are gonna be different lengths. So, for example, this is a huge piece. I'm gonna go ahead and make the slat how I was making the slats, and then when I get to putting them on the deck, I'm gonna fit, obviously I'm gonna put the longest ones where they need to be, and then when I have shorter ones, I'm gonna put the shorter ones where they can be. So basically you're getting 4 slats per board, unless you have like major screw ups on the board, of course, like that one. That one's gonna be junk. Well, some of it anyways. And so all this scrap wood that would normally be torched or thrown away is being turned into something that is a slight work of art. And I wouldn't cut all of your boards yet. I would do more of the shorter ones first, because you might need to rip these 3 or 4 times to make strips for blocking behind the slats. So you gotta kind of think ahead. But yeah, I'll show you how that works out in the end.